Welcome back to another edition of Tiger Bomb MMA. Today we'll be going over UFC on ESPN 24, which is unfortunately now Waterson versus Rodriguez. It was going to be Dillashaw versus Sandhagen, but Dillashaw got his little snake skin cut. And now we're left with a 5-round fight with Rodriguez and Waterson. I am looking forward to seeing this fight, even though I'm not excited about it. I am looking forward to it to see how this plays out. We'll start off the card today with a prelim fight between Mike, the Lone Wolf Trizano, and Mr. Highlight Ludovic Klein. It's a pretty goddamn great fight. Very excited for this one. I'm thinking it's going to be higher up on the card, but we'll break it down right away. Mike Trizano, his last fight was a loss to Grant Dawson about 2 years ago. He looked pretty good in that fight. Like I rewatched it yesterday because you have this idea of Mike Trizano because he's a Tiger Showman guy. He's very technical, good jab, good striking. Doesn't pose much of a threat when it comes to the power, and that's when we'll talk about Ludovic Klein. But he's really, really solid. It's just that I remember betting on him. I'm like, yeah, he's going to piece up this Grant Dawson kid, and then Grant Dawson kind of proved why he is where he is right now. And he looked good against Grant Dawson. Like he was on his way to winning that decision, but things didn't work out for the Lone Wolf. For Ludovic Klein, we saw him last against Shane Young about 7 months ago during the Costa and Adesanya fight where he knocked him out. Beautiful. This guy, watching his tape, you see some concerning things about him, but he's got the power. He sets up that left high kick really well. He's very sneaky with it. I kind of noticed that because when he's got that crow cop left cemetery kick, right? And you know it's coming. So I know Mike Trizano knows it's coming. He's going to defend it with his damn life. But the way he sets it up is real, real sneaky. Like he won't throw it whatsoever during the fight in certain occasions. Like he might throw it off immediately just to kind of get you guessing and thinking about it. And then he'll go to the legs and then he'll attack the body, go to the head with punches and just not show it whatsoever. And then throws off like a nice little 3-piece combination. And then he throws it and that's when it lands. So he's very, very dangerous. It's a closer fight. I'll get off with the odds here. I didn't even read them. Ludovic minus 235, Mike Trizano plus 195. And it's tempting. It's really tempting to pick Mike Trizano. I know he's been away for so long, but he's so technical and he's so clean with his striking. He's not one of the greatest strikers I've ever seen, but he's got the fundamentals down. He goes to the legs well. Really nice jab. So there's a way he can win this fight by just outpointing Ludovic Klein, because Ludovic Klein sometimes holds back a bit and he doesn't attack enough. So he can easily get outpointed, but he does have that significant power. So he could easily be losing the first round clearly, and then he lands that head kick or he lands that really good strike. I have to go with Ludovic Klein just based on a couple different factors. Like he's got the slightly longer reach. He's a 72-inch reach compared to the 71. He's a shorter guy. He's 5'7" compared to 5'11" in Trizano. I think Trizano might want to try to grapple a little bit more, although Ludovic Klein's grappling is good enough. He's primarily the striker. I see Ludovic Klein winning this one by, I would say, second round knockout. I think he's going to attack the legs right off the bat, get Michael Trizano thinking about stuff, and then that head kick will land. It might not knock him out, but it will kind of dictate the pace. And then maybe he'll follow up with like ground punches. But yeah, I got to go with Ludovic Klein. That record advantage is 17-2 compared to 8-1. And then being more active, got to go with Mr. Highlight.
I agree. I think the 2 years being away from fighting is going to bite him in the ass. I think he's going to come in. I'm pretty sure he's excited to get back in there. But, having 2 years taken away from your prime, I don't think is going to help him out any. Klein has been more active, and usually that tends to, I think that tends to determine fights like these. There are a few fights where I'll say that isn't the case. It's like, for example, when what's his name, Dominic Cruz came back against Takeya. Is it Mizugaki?
Yep, Mitsugaki.
Mitsugaki. Dominic Cruz had been away forever, but then he came back and he was using his wrestling a lot. This is not the case. Trizano is not Dominic Cruz, nor is he nor does he have his wrestling or striking credentials. So I mean, I want to say like, hey, Trizano took all this time to improve, but we really don't know. So I'm not hopping on a train that I don't know how fast and how hard that train is coming. So I'm just going with Klein to get it done by decision.
Yeah, you do know that if Klein wins, and then once our boy from Georgia wins, god damn it, what's his fucking name? Ilya Taporia. Once Ilya Taporia wins, these two are dying to fight each other. They were going back and forth on, I think, Twitter and Instagram, talking shit to each other. So that'll be a really fun fight to watch.
Yeah, a lot of these, a lot. I'm pretty sure I'm Ilya Taporia is one of the Georgian fighters, or one of these guys. It's just this group of fighters that I don't know, man. Apparently, Georgia, not the state, the country, has. Yeah, I'm pretty sure people, guys in the state of Georgia that are, not too bad fighters, but the country of Georgia has these very vicious, pretty talented fighters, and it looks like Ilya Taporia, with Giga fighting tonight. Yeah, they're set to make a splash, big splash. They're the next wave of European, um, the next wave or group of European fighters to to make themselves known, like kind of like the more recent Dagestani crew, behind Khabib and whatnot. All the Nurmagomedovs coming out of the woodwork now. Anyway, yeah, that would be an interesting fight, I think. So I think that's probably what's going to happen. I think Klein's going to end up fighting Tapuria after he gets his decision here.
Our next matchup at middleweight, we've got Tafon the Don and Nchukwi versus the Iron Turtle, lamest nickname ever, Junyoung Park. The odds currently have it minus 165 for Nchukwi, plus 145 for Park. And those aren't terrible odds. I understand it because Tafon, his last fight, he didn't knock out Jamie Pickett as everyone expected him to, but he did gut out the decision and he looked pretty good defending takedowns and just being the more active fighter. As for Junyoung Park, he's kind of been off and on when it comes to his record. He lost to Anthony Hernandez via anaconda choke. He comes back and he beats a pre-PED Mark Andre Barrios, and then he decisioned John Phillips, right? So John Phillips is not the most difficult puzzle to solve. You take him down, and then that's it. And then I think Jun Young Park landed like the most takedowns in like middleweight history or something on John Phillips. So he will most definitely look to do the same thing with Nchukwi. I don't think it's going to work though. Nchukwi, man, he's a powerful guy. He's a bigger guy too. He's 6 foot tall compared to the 5'10" Jung Young Park, 77-inch reach compared to 73-inch reach for Park. And then, man, like Lloyd Irvin has really been teaching this kid. He's 5-0 overall, but you can tell that he's got a long way to go. But where he is currently right now, he's good enough to beat a lot of these guys. And we'll see how good the Iron Turtle's chin is, because I don't think it's going to be holding up like iron. I think Tafon and Chukwi's going to knock him out in the first round. I know that didn't pan out last time because you're always wanting to pick that prop, like, ooh, first round knockout or knockout in general or the under. So it's very, very possible that Jun Young Park's wrestling might stifle Tafon and Chukwi up a little bit, that he might not get that first round, but I got to go with it. I think he's going to catch him with something. He's just so damn powerful. I think his takedown defense really held up, especially with a better overall fighter with Jamie Pickett. So, yeah, I'll go with Tafon and Nchukwi to win this one by first round head kick knockout.
That was very specific. Yeah, I think Tafon is. Yeah, I mean, I look at the Iron Turtle, and I saw this Korean movie about what that signified, and apparently there was a war between, unless I'm mistaken, Korea and Japan, and Japan took out the entirety of Korea's naval fleet, and all they were left with was like one ship, which I guess they reinforced, and Japan was unable to take out this lone. I don't know if they. I doubt they won the war, but they were just unable to take out this lone ship, which they called the Iron Turtle, because it was an impenetrable, defensive ship versus a ship that can do a lot of damage offensively. And so when I think of that, I think, oh, this guy's. Or when I initially looked at Jun, uh, I thought, oh, this guy's apparently got an impenetrable, defense that, is going to cause him to, get a better record than 12-4. Because apparently, if he had the best defense, then he'd be 16-0, and it'd be a different story. But he doesn't. I'm not sure where that Iron Turtle. I don't know. Maybe he has an iron chin or iron, iron chin and iron head or something. I don't know. Anyway, interesting story. Korean story, that is. This one's tough in the sense that, is he going to get KO'd or is he going to get TKO'd? I'm undecided. I don't know if he's going to get, one punch knocked out or, get punched, go to the ground and then get hammer fisted or something. I'm going to go with that. I think he's going to get hammer fisted I'm going to go with Tafon first round hammer fist TKO. I mean, there's really not much to it, and it's pretty much how it's going to end. And it's going to for sure end in the first round, and he's going to feel that Cameroonian power. Unfortunately.
Our next matchup at welterweight, we've got the return of the beast Christian Aguilera versus the newcomer Carlston Harris. Mokambike is his nickname. I don't know what that means. Never looked it up, but very fascinating fight because I didn't know anything about this Carlston Harris guy. He's coming in from regional organizations, fighting out of Brazil technically, but he's from Guyana. As for Christian Aguilera, his last fight was against Sean Brady, and he got choked out by Sean Brady. I think it was the second round with like a one-armed nasty mounted guillotine. But before that, he came in here and knocked out Aquaman Anthony Ivy, which I think he was the underdog in that fight. So we know he has good pop in his punches. It's just that he's not that great. He lost to David Michonde. And I don't consider David Michonne to be a great fighter. Losing to him, in my personal opinion, kind of drops your stock a little bit. The odds currently have it at plus 115 for Aguilera, minus 135 for Harris. And it's very understandable. I don't know too much about Carlston Harris. I did watch some tape on him, some of his highlights. He's got a good mix of, submissions and striking. He's okay. I don't know, again, too much about him. I can't advise anyone to bet on him, although I think he's going to win. He's the bigger guy, 6 foot tall compared to the 5'9" and Christian Aguilera. I don't have his reach heavily available, but I'm going to assume he's got long as reach, 72-inch reach for Aguilera. So from what I've seen, this should be a pretty easy fight for Carlston Harris, as long as he doesn't get clipped. I'm terrified that he has that tall man defense where his head's going to be stuck up in the air and his chin's going to be sticking out, just primed to get left hooked or overhanded. So yeah, Christian, he has his deficiencies, but he can upset. I think he has really good power, good enough striking to hurt Carlston Harris. But Carlston, really, if he does get hurt, he has the grappling to take him down. I think he's got pretty good, I guess, good top control. His submissions are okay. His takedowns are whatever. Nothing too impressive. He should win this one. I don't know how he's going to win it. Like, again, I haven't seen too much of him. I have to see more of this guy to actually have a solid opinion on him. But from what I've seen, comparing these two, I think he should win this one pretty easily. I think more than likely submission. I'll go with maybe like a second round. Nah, screw it. Third round submission. I think it might be pretty close. And then Harris might just say, screw it, I got to go for it, because it could be really close. It could be 1-1 going into the third round, because Christian might win the first round. Harris might come back after having some UFC jitters and then push for the third round submission. So I'll go with a third round submission for Harris, but man, I'm not sure about this one whatsoever. If you guys have a read on it, leave a comment below. Let us know. But yeah, I'm not confident in this pick whatsoever. But I've got Harris to win this one, third round submission.
Yeah, this is definitely a coin flip fight. I would, I wouldn't say I would necessarily give him the edge, but well, I guess that's what I'd be doing if I'd pick. I'm actually going with Christian on this one, and the reason I'm going with him is, this guy's a UFC newcomer. This is his first fight in the UFC, and yes, he does have, at first glance, a better record than Christian, but Christian has fought, I think, the tougher competition overall. Not just in his last few fights in the UFC. He's 1-1 in the UFC. And sure, should he have, not gotten submitted by Sean Brady? Yeah, that'll be nice. But he did, and I think he learned from that. I'm hoping he learned from that. He is a tough guy. He didn't. It's not like he got one punch knocked out and embarrassed, in front of Miami, not Miami, Jacksonville or whatever. So
Let me
there's
bring up
that.
an interesting stat. Maybe it might sway your opinion, but I forgot to bring up that in the regional scenes, Harris actually beat Wellington Turman and Michel Pereira. But this was years ago, though. Does that change your mind whatsoever?
Not really.
Okay, good.
I think, yeah, not really. I mean, if those were like, top five guys right now, I'd be like, holy crap, this guy's, gonna come in here and destroy everybody. But it happens to these guys. Yeah, they're not very high on my list. No, nor are they in the rankings. The For some reason I keep seeing this fight going like this. Damn it, I can't remember these guys' names, but it was this guy whose nickname was RoboCop, and he was apparently, I think it was from the Contender series.
Mm-hmm.
He was gonna run over this smaller guy, and then I thought, oh shit, man, the smaller guy's gonna get destroyed. But then the smaller guy ended up just knocking out the taller guy, whose nickname was, I'll find out who this guy is
Yeah.
later. But his nickname was RoboCop, and he crumbled like Stefan Struve. And for some reason, that's how I see this fight going. I think Christian is going to catch Harris, and he's going to be known as the Guianan Stefan Struve. We're going to change his nickname after this fight. I don't know. I may be incorrect, but that's how I see this fight going.
Very possible. That's why I'm like, it's a coin flip. It might not be too bad of a bet to bet Christian because, yeah, like last time, like I remember we talked about it, the Asian, Mongolian / Chinese fighters out of the institute that fought on the UFC 261, and they were
Yeah,
heavily favored. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll take a shot on one of these guys. And then this motherfucker just stares at his corner the whole time. I'm like, fight, god damn it, fight. Yeah, dude, you never know. Sometimes if you don't know a certain fighter, like I'm staying away this time. I learned my lesson.
yeah. Well, anyway, that's our opinion. If you guys think differently, let us know. If you have some inside, scoop on Harris that we didn't mention, leave it in the comments. But anyway, yeah, I see Aguilera coming out on top here.
Our next matchup at heavyweight, we've got the crochet balls, Maurice Greene versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Pezao. Man, this fight, although it's at heavyweight, and you know how heavyweight is, anything can really happen. This is literally the embodiment of anything can happen because this fight is like, no matter which side you go with, you're probably wrong. The odds currently have it at plus 135 for Greene and then minus 155 for the Lima. And this is, man, I have no read on this one whatsoever because I can make a really compelling argument for both of these guys because De Lima will try to kickbox, attack the legs of Maurice Greene, which can easily hurt him, drop him down to the ground, and then get finished. But Maurice Greene could use his length and either drop De Lima, get on top of him, or possibly take him down and get on top of him, pound him out, or submit him. Because Maurice Greene's got some pretty good jujitsu. He's not the greatest, but for heavyweight, he's not, Verdum, but he's got decent enough jujitsu to beat guys like De Lima, who has been submitted multiple times. Stefan Struve submitted him, which, it's kind of the similar fight now that I think about it. Stefan Struve's a tall guy. Maurice Greene's a pretty damn tall guy, 6'7". So maybe, it's a tough one for me because Maurice Greene isn't like the toughest guy. He got wrecked by Greg Hardy his last fight, but he did. Oh God, I just looking at Tapology and I saw that he beat John Vellante. I'm like, he beat John Vellante. More so, John Vellante quit on that fight, but whatever. And then it's tempting to go with the dog money. It's very possible, if you're thinking, yeah, this might be a repeat of the Struve fight, Struve will get on top, submit him, very likely. But the Lima looked pretty good against Romanov his last fight. I bet Romanov that one. I won't bet him anymore because he's a fucking quitter. But I bet him that last fight, and I was kind of worried because De Lima was landing those leg kicks very, very, very heavily on those legs. And I was like, damn, this might be tough. Maybe Romanov isn't the guy I thought he was. I know it turned out he wasn't the guy he thought he was, but at that time, I'm like, shit, he's pretty young, and whatever. We'll see what happens. Then he gets taken down and forearm choked. If you get forearm choked in the UFC, you probably don't belong to UFC. So that's why I'm like, it's a coin flip fight for me. I listed down De Lima, but now that I keep thinking about it, I have to go with the dog. I can't trust De Lima. I'll go with Maurice Greene, another guy you can't trust, but screw it. He's taller. I think he might get the knockout and or submission. So I'll go with Maurice Greene to win this one. As long as his legs don't give out on him, he should potentially win this one. So Maurice Greene, I'll go with second round submission. I'll say maybe even a triangle. He's got them long ass legs.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I cannot go with Lima. That loss to Alexander Romanov is pretty goddamn weak, considering we saw we saw exactly who Romanov is in his last fight against El Guapo. Maurice Greene isn't exactly, his name escapes me at the moment. Damian Maia of the heavyweight division by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, Marcos Rogério de Lima, this guy's like the one Brazilian who can't grapple, apparently. He's, I can make other sort of other comparisons, but I don't want our channel to get shut down. So we'll just leave it at that.
Well, I got one for you. He's the Curtis Millender of the Brazilian heavyweight division.
Yeah, pretty much. He's, he gets any whiff of a submission coming and he's like, fuck it, just do it. Get it over with. His last 3 losses are by, I want to say kind of weak submissions, all except maybe the OSP Von Flue choke. But dude, getting submitted by Stefan Struve, it's like, Jesus, come on, bro. So I think there's probably going to be another submission loss for him. I'd say Maurice Greene by, I think he's probably just going to hug him, kind of like how he did Vellante. Just, I think Rogério de Lima is going to take him down, try some ground and pound. But then he's going to, it says here it was modified choke. I remember just Maurice Greene just hugging, not even, and it wasn't even a submission. It was more just him, how when guys are on bottom and they're like, they can't get out from on bottom. So they just hold, their opponent closer to them so that they don't have the space to ground and pound them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looked like to me. And I'm like, dude, it's like, he gave up for that. And I was like, man, John Vellante is the biggest piece of garbage I've ever seen. And I don't think Rogério de Lima is, too far behind him. Yeah, this is going to be, one of those fights where you just want to turn away at how bad it is. But I think it'll be a good night for Maurice Greene. I think he's going to get another W and get one more fight away from being at 500 for his record. So good for him.
Our next matchup at flyweight, we've got the babyface Ryan Benoit versus the Lion's Aruk Adashev. The odds are very interesting. Currently, we have Ryan Benoit. It's Benoit. Fuck it. Ryan Benoit minus 160, and Adashev comes back at plus 140. And I'll be 100% upfront. I've never, ever, ever been impressed with Ryan Benoit. I know he knocked out Baby Pettis, which was like, yay, get him. And then he kicked him in the ass afterwards, which was hilarious, which I'm like, yeah, cool. But he's not all that great. Like he's a powerful striker, right? He's got big shoulders and he can really put some pop in those punches, but it almost seems like he's throwing these punches really hard, but they don't really land correctly. I don't know how to explain. Like basically, he's got some pillow fists, even though he's throwing punches at full velocity, which is like when you're, you know, niece throws a punch at you and it's like at full force and it just bounces off of you. And she's like, I hit you hard. I'm like, no, you didn't. Get the fuck off. But anyways, his last fight was against Tim Elliott. Everyone was on Ryan Benoit on that one. Like, oh yeah, Benoit's going to whip Tim Elliott. I made some good money on Tim Elliott that night. Tim Elliott schooled him. And yeah, I've never been too impressed with Ryan. It's just like he's I don't know, man. He's not a guy who I would think, oh yeah, this guy is going to be top 10 of the division. For Zaruk Adashev, he came into the UFC very, very early into his MMA career. He's primarily a kickboxer. He's a pretty damn good kickboxer from Uzbekistan. He went 3-0 in Bellator. It looked good, right? And then he comes in here against Tyson Nam. And unfortunately, Tyson Nam knocked him the fudge out with a really nasty right hand. And you can't really fault Adashev. That was his first fight in the UFC. And then he gets given the hardest hitting dude in that division when Tyson Nam. And he was undersized against Tyson Nam. And then they give him, who the hell do they give him next? Sumadarji, the longest guy in the division. And it's like, man, he got jabbed to death. But I did see something from Adashev is that he didn't give up. He went after him. He gave it his all. And that's sometimes all you can really ask from a fighter. I was watching Bare Knuckle yesterday, BFK, and there was a fight where a guy, I forgot his name because it doesn't matter. He was fighting some dude. He was getting his ass beat, and he didn't do a damn thing. He kept like popping his contact lens out, like, oh, my contact fell out. And I'm like, dude, fight. This corner is like, you gotta do shit. He wouldn't do anything. And I don't think I'll have that issue with Zaruk Adashev. I see a little bit of that like tentativeness from Ryan Benoit. He's a striker, but he's not a great striker. He looks like a great striker against, grapplers. So I think Zaruk, this is a prime spot for him to really style on Ryan Benoit. Ryan Benoit's not going to want to really stand with him. And if he does try to stand with him, it's not going to be a fun night. I got Adashev to win this one. I got dog money. I'm going to go with Adashev to win this one by decision. I think Benoit, he's a pretty tough guy, although he's not, the most skilled dude. Actually, I thought he was Canadian. I don't know why he's listed as United States, but I got Adashev to win this one. I think he's just going to be the cleaner striker. Possibility that he can knock out Ryan Benoit, the first guy to ever do that. So I've got Adashev really to just style on Benoit. I think he's going to show us why he was brought into the UFC at 3-0. It's just that they gave him a lot of really tough opponents. So Adashev by decision.
Yeah, I agree. Records don't always give you the best, don't always showcase or give you the best idea of what a fighter is capable of. They may be, great grappler, maybe a great striker, maybe great wrestling, but they just, for whatever reason, their past opponents have just been able to, get one over them. But I think this is going to be one. This is going to be a razor thin fight, I think. But I think Zaruk is going to get the nod here by decision. Yeah, man. It's hard to go with Benoit. Yeah, man. For some reason, just I pictured Benoit being kind of the taller, lankier guy. But these guys are pretty evenly matched physically. For some, Benoit actually has the reach advantage here. But I gotta say, Zaruk has both the youth and the he has the youth. I think he's technically a little bit. He's a little bit more technical than Benoit, I have to say, at least from what I've seen. I don't think Benoit is going to have any sort of advantage, in the wrestling or grappling realm. So I think Zaruk is just going to I think this is going to be just a straight, what do you call it? Kind of sparring match for 15 minutes, and I think Zaruk is going to get the best of him. Probably going to get more shots in. I don't know about power shots, but I think he's going to have more volume. So that's why I'm going with Zaruk with I think 29-28 decision at the very least.
Before we get into the main card, I'd like to ask you guys, please like, share, subscribe. We're at 81 subscribers now. That is 81 more than we thought we were going to get overall when we started doing this thing. It's pretty damn amazing so far. Like, our last video got like 700 and some views, which when you go back and look at our first videos, we got like 13 and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, like it's crazy. It's really cool that people like what we're doing. I love the comments. Like, even when they're talking shit, like, oh, it's so much fun. As long as you're leaving a comment, that's cool with us. But no, we appreciate all you guys, all the guys that leave comments, ask questions weekly. We see you guys, we acknowledge it, we appreciate it. Once we hit 100 subscribers, we might do something special, because that kind of solidifies like, hey, we're not doing something pretty shitty. Some people are actually liking what we do. So yeah, appreciate you guys. Like, share, subscribe, as we always tell you. Anything you want to add, Jose?
No, I too am very pleasantly surprised that we have, I expected maybe, to get like 10 views out of our videos on a weekly basis. I was going to be like, wow, 10 people actually took the time out of their day to listen to us, talk MMA and talk a lot of nonsense and talk shit. And it's pretty fun. And yeah, so I'm pleasantly surprised, at that. And I thought, as long as we keep putting out weekly podcasts, we're by far not perfect or anything, but I think we definitely put out slightly more cohesive sentences than like Brendan Schaub does on his weak ass podcast.
The most cohesive.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's just mind blowing that we're seeing several hundred views as of late. Yeah, and again, I'm pleasantly surprised, and we're gonna do our best to try to make this better week to week, so that it doesn't get boring. We'll find ways to make it more entertaining for you guys, but if you guys want certain want us to talk about certain things, or if you have any sort of suggestions or anything, feel free to leave them in the comments. We're going to be upfront with you guys. We're never going to hold back. Well, I guess we'll hold back just so we won't get canceled.
Yep.
We'll hold back just enough to not have the Karen brigade or the Ken brigade on us.
To begin the main card, we have a fight at middleweight between Phil Hawes and Kyle the Lesser Daukaus. When I saw the odds on this, I was like, son of a bitch. We've got plus 115 for Phil Hawes, minus 135 for Kyle Daukaus. And I think that explains this fight pretty damn well. Phil Hawes is an underdog because like, I don't want to say he's a first round knockout or bust, but he's kind of first round knockout or bust. I've been kind of critical on the guy. I don't dislike Phil Hawes. I'm concerned about putting money on this guy because, first round knockout or bust. Like, he's good. He's a good fighter. His conditioning scares the hell out of me though, because he's a powerful guy. He hits hard, of course, and he's got the good wrestling. But with his last fight with Imavov, there were some sketchy moments in that situation where he couldn't get the knockout. He took him down. He couldn't get out. He was a taller guy, Imavov, and at this point, 6'3" for Kyle Daukaus versus 6 foot tall for Phil Hawes. That's another thing. Like, oh man, maybe he's gonna have some issues there. Plus, Kyle Daukaus is more of a submission guy. He's a pretty good grappler. So, man, I'm torn by this because Phil Hawes, he's a guy you should not underestimate. I've underestimated him in the past, and it's kind of cost me with some of my bets. But Kyle Daukaus, on the other hand, like, he's a guy that I underestimate as well, and he pleasantly surprises me. He was an underdog, I think, with Dustin Stoltzfus And I bet Kyle Daukaus, and he pulled it off relatively easily. So the fight should go like this: Phil Hawes has to try to knock out Kyle Daukaus in the first round, but his older brother, what's his older brother, Chris Daukaus? I think
Oh yeah, Chris
Chris,
Daukaus.
he's got some good hands. So, assuming that they don't hate each other like the Weidman brothers, they should be training together and they should be teaching each other. And Kyle Dawkins' hands, although they're not the greatest right now, they should progressively get better. His defense should get better. He's a tall, lanky dude. And I think that might be the issue for Phil Hawes. I think Phil Hawes has trouble with certain type of fighters. And to be honest, his gas tank is, as I mentioned, is concerning. If he had a gas tank like Usman, I'd be like, oh yeah, Phil Hawes all day. He'll take you down. He'll at least control you there, beat you up, stifle the submissions that Kyle Dawkins is going to have. But he will get tired. He's so damn muscly. And oh man, like I really want to take the dog money on Phil Hawes. I think that's like it's bait. Like well, a couple weeks ago, there was some bait on that card. Like ooh, underdog on this tall Chinese girl. She's way taller and longer reach, and it's like ooh, tempting. No, that's fucking bait. And I think that might be the bait here. Like plus 135 for Phil Hawes. Like yeah, want to take it, and it might pay off. But like if it doesn't pay off in the first round, what am I going to do? Am I going to be just like clenching my ass, like get up, Phil, get up? I got to go with Kyle Dawkins. I think he knows what's coming. I think he has to withstand that early storm. And I meant, even if he gets taken down, I think he's going to be like, idiot. Yeah, take my ass down. Like, watch this. His long legs. And man, I got to go with Kyle Dawkins. I think it might, ooh, later, later submission TKO or possibly a decision for Kyle Dawkins for sure. I think he's going to lose the first round, but he'll come back and rally in the later rounds. I think he's a tougher guy between the two. He's never been knocked out. Kyle Dawkins has. Ooh, it's a tough one, really. It's again, it's a bait. They're trying to get you, but we can see something from Phil Hawes. I'm not counting him out. He's very likely to win this one, either by just beating the crap out of Kyle Dawkins, exploiting his defense on the feet. But man, Kyle, he's a bigger dude. I think he can bully around Phil. And in those situations where, say, Phil wants to reverse position against the cage, I think Kyle might just even pull guard. Man, I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a really good fight. I'm really looking forward to this one because this is like, holy shit, like a really good grappler versus striker. So I'll go with Dawkins by decision.
Yeah, this one's a very tricky one. This is, the classic striker versus grappler, as was mentioned. Yeah, I mean, it's all if this goes past the first round, Dawkins is going to take it. Either he's going to submit Hawes or he's just going to stifle him to get that 29-28 decision. I think Hawes is, I don't know, man. I think he's going to have a tough time knocking out Daukaus. And Daukaus doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's overly confident. He doesn't. I don't think he's going to walk out with reggaeton artist, and I don't think that. Yeah, he's fighting out of Philadelphia, so this is definitely they're not fighting in Philly, so he's not walking out with a Philly cheesesteak sandwich on his arm or anything. Yeah, the height is something that can't be overlooked, but it's kind of. I still think it's weird, seeing the shorter guys having the bigger reach in a lot of these matchups. I mean, at least according to Tapology, I don't know. I'd have to, go out with the tape measure and actually measure these guys' reach to see if that's what it actually is. But
That should be a job for the UFC. You should probably lobby for that, like official
yeah,
arm reach measure.
yeah, official reach measure, confirmationist, whatever. Yeah, these guys are. I mean, this is, I think, a closer matchup than meets the eye in terms of. I mean, it's hard, but I mean, I have to go with Dawkins just because he has, I think, more to fall back on. Because if Phil Hawes can't knock him out, what is he going to do? Try to grapple with him and try to take him down? I mean, that could very well, be it's tough because that could very well lead to Phil Hawes getting the decision if he can't knock out Kyle in the first round. Maybe in the second and third round he'll try some takedowns and kind of just lay on him. Which I hate to see. That's like the worst. Well, one of my pet peeves when these guys when plan A is to strike and then when that goes to shit, they just go to takedowns and laying on people, and that's how they manage to get their decisions. That's like really gets on my goddamn nerves. But I think that's probably Phil Hawes's plan B. But even so, man, I don't know. With the lesser Daukaus, I know he's an okay grappler, but he's no Chris Daukaus. This one's tough. I'd say I'll go with Kyle Daukaus, but I'll go with him to get the decision. I don't know if he'll be able to submit Phil. Phil's a pretty tough guy and he's pretty strong, so I don't know. He may power bomb Kyle Daukaus, a la Rampage with Ricardo Arona in Pride or something. We may see another power bomb here.
Our next matchup at lightweight, we've got Diego Ferreira versus the gift, Gregor Gillespie. And here's the thing, like, I know you guys like the pictures that I post, but it's a little too obvious, right? I'm not going to be posting the same picture every time for Gregor Gillespie, although it's a masterpiece. So I like to change it up slightly. So hopefully you enjoy it. Diego Ferreira, his last fight was a loss to Benio Dariush. Very close split decision, but frankly, I thought Benio won it pretty easily. And that's the most concerning thing about Diego Ferreira's game is the takedowns, right? He's a good jiu-jitsu specialist. His striking has gotten so improved training at Fortis MMA. He's officially a Texan, right? Like, man, that dude really put in the effort being a Brazilian guy, moving to Texas and just like working his ass off at 36 years old to put in the type of win streak that he had before going up against Benio the second time. Well, at the time, I would say submitting Anthony Pettis was like, oh, holy shit, he's so good. But that that really drops in stock when Anthony Pettis is getting his ass beat by Cassius Clay Collard in the PFL. So, although I do respect Diego, that win against Anthony Pettis, although at the time I was like, oh wow, he's close to a fight. It kind of brings him back down into reality because although the Benio Dariush fight, losing to him still makes him a great fighter, beating Pettis is like, it's whatever. As for Gregor, we know what happened. He got knocked out by Kevin Lee. Beautiful head kick, right? And then who was he going to fight? I forgot. He was going to fight the Kiwi Brad Riddle. Yeah, he was going to fight Brad Riddle, and then some bullshit happened, and then Gregor Gillespie was left without an opponent. So now he's fighting Diego Ferreira. And during those interviews, when he was like talking about, oh, the fight happened, I liked the way Gregor was talking. Like, hey, it happened. It is what it is. I love when he said, like, people were telling me you should have grappled more, you should have wrestled more. Like, no, you fucking think. I'm like I liked his response. Like, he didn't take it like some people do, like, oh, my fucking career's over. It's like, hey, I got caught with a beautiful technique. It's going to happen. I got to learn from it. And I think he is going to learn from it because all that time off, that was what, almost 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. I think it's going to motivate him more. Sometimes getting your head knocked off like that, especially by Kevin Lee, who is, he's in my opinion, Kevin Lee is the new meme of when it comes to Eric Silva. He's this young guy. Just give him a couple more years and he'll finally get to the title. I'm like, yeah, he's fucking nearly 40. But Gregor, his wrestling is just top notch. I think he's just going to do the rinse and repeat with Diego Ferreira. He's going to take him down. Man, I wouldn't even be surprised if Gregor, I don't want to say he'll submit Diego, but I think he's just going to outstyle him on the ground. I think his jiu-jitsu isn't better than Diego's, right? Diego's going to have an active guard. He's going to try to sweep, but I think Gregor's overall top game is so damn good. He can even get the TKO. But I do predict Gregor to win this one by a decision. I'm not 100% confident. I'm like maybe a 60% confident on Gregor winning this one. I'm staying the hell away from this completely because Diego might go for broke because he's got the better hands. I think he's got the better arsenal. It's just that takedown defense. And then once he gets on the bottom, Benio was able to just stay on top of him. And that's what Gregor specializes in. So you can't really, I can't pick against Gregor, even though he's been away for so long. That's his bread and butter, and he's going to keep doing it. And then he just got caught that last time. So we'll see what happens. We might even see the birth of the new glass chin fighter in the UFC if Gregor Gillespie gets dropped with a jab and then he gets knocked out. So we don't know that. We'll see with this fight. But assuming that's not the case, I got Gregor to win this one by a pretty cut and dry decision.
I'm actually going with Ferreira on this, just because I think out of their last two losses, losing to Beneil Dariush, uh, recently is not as bad as losing to Kevin Lee, a year and a half ago. And while sure you can say, Diego Ferreira's, submission win over Anthony Pettis is nothing to scoff at, but yeah, Anthony Pettis isn't really, a lot of these, I don't know what it is, man. I think a lot of these, at least I think what I think it is, when a lot of these UFC guys, go into, have been fighting in the UFC for so long, and then they go into these other organizations. I think they walk in with a chip on their shoulder, and they just, I don't know, man. I guess maybe they don't train as hard. They think they're just going to walk through these other hungry, either Asian or whatever fighters, and then they get their asses beat. Case in point, Mighty Mouse. What's that guy's name that I dislike? Eddie Alvarez. Now Anthony Pettis. These guys have all gotten their asses beat, in other organizations by virtual, unknown fighters. And so anyway, that's Anthony Pettis. But as far as Beneil Dariush, he lost by split decision to Beneil Dariush, and I'm very high on Beneil. I like him as a fighter. He's, I think he is the most underrated lightweight at the moment, and I think people keep looking past him, and he keeps surprising everybody because he has great grappling. He's an all-around great striker. And Diego Ferreira lost by split decision. So that to me says a lot more than, just getting highlight, getting knocked out and having that being used as a highlight for Kevin Lee. So I'll go with Diego. Because to me, this fight is similar to Damian Maia versus Ben Askren. I know a lot of people at the time, not now. Now they'll laugh at that even more. But at the time, people were saying, "Hey, Ben Askren is gonna, demolish Damian Maia. He's gonna school him." But there's levels to the grappling game, and Damian showed that. Because Damian is not necessarily in his prime anymore, but that guy is, definitely top 10 in the world jiu-jitsu, pound for pound for sure. And he schooled Ben Askren. He showed him, hey, this isn't all wrestling. Jiu-jitsu guys can, can dominate wrestlers. And I think this is going to be so very similar to that. In that, while Gregor might want to wrestle, with Ferreira, I think Ferreira is going to out grapple him. I don't know if he'll be able to knock him out. I'm pretty sure, his stand up will speak for itself. But on the ground, if Gregor wants to go there, I think Ferreira is going to school him. So I'll go with Ferreira by decision.
I forgot the odds to bring it up late. Plus 150 for Ferreira and then minus 170 for Gillespie. So that's a pretty good underdog bet if you've got that read.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm seeing. I could be wrong. Gillespie might have taken the year and a half to just improve a lot, and who knows. But I think they're both at that age where I don't know. I think Ferreira, them both being over 30. Oh shit, I lost my place here. They're both over, I think, in lightweight. I think 32, 33 is like, over the hill. They're both over that. But I think Ferreira's experience and more, having fought a lot more, since Gregor got knocked out, is going to work to his advantage as well. So
Our next matchup at welterweight, we've got a matchup between Geoff Neal and Neil Magny, the battle of the Neils. Neil, or Geoff Neal, I should say, is at a minus 180. Neil Magny is plus 155. Fascinating matchup because, I like it. I like this one. It's like the unknown between these two guys. But yeah, I like Neil in this one. I think Neil is going to beat Neil. He's going to show that he's the real deal. And by beating Neil, propel himself into stardom. And then Neil will then have to kind of go back into the undercard and try to work his way back up and then try to prove that he's the real deal. But I think Neil will make Neil Neil on the ground, and then he'll proceed to propel himself to a title. Hopefully that made sense. But no, I got Geoff Neal to win this one. Neil Magny, I like Neil Magny. I think he really embodies hard work. That dude's got a long ass reach. He's 80 inch reach compared to Geoff Neal's 75-inch reach. He's a taller guy, 6'3" compared to 5'11". I'm a big fan of Geoff Neal. Something about Geoff Neal just kind of rubs me the right way. I've always kind of thought this guy's like he's a hustler, man. He comes into from the contender series, head kicks people. He still works at what's that restaurant, Texas Roadhouse. I'm like, that dude's still constantly hustling and working, which might be to his disadvantage, but it doesn't seem like it's actually affecting the way he fights. His last fight was a loss to Stephen Thompson, which was like it wasn't unexpected. I picked Neil to win because I thought maybe Stephen Wonderboy's days are numbered, but no, Stephen Thompson really showed that he still got it and he still has a lot left in the tank. And if you can't cut off the cage correctly on him, it's not going to be your night. But he stuck in there and he lost a unanimous decision, but he didn't get hurt. He didn't get knocked out. And he kept going, even though I think he was hurt after a certain, or actually maybe it was Wonderboy he got hurt. For Geoff Neal, though, or Geoff Neal, God damn it, they're tripping me up. For Neil Magny, his last fight was a loss to Michael Chiesa. People were, oh, Neil Magny's going to win this one. No, Michael Chiesa is going to do what Michael Chiesa does and gets on top of you. He's got good grappling, like good takedowns, and he can lay on you, as you mentioned. He's a wet blanket on top of you. And then Neil Magny's pretty good on the bottom, but he couldn't do anything to really to stifle or get back up against Michael. This matchup, it's tempting because I think Geoff Neal, again, I mean Neil Magny. I think Neil Magny with that reach advantage, he can really pop off on you, man. When he gets on in his rhythm, he'll let loose and he'll like style on you with those like multiple punch combinations that honestly they don't seem to hurt, but they just overwhelm dudes with the volume. But Geoff Neal has that one punch, one kick power advantage. And this is how the fight should go down. And I think this is what most people are thinking when it comes to people betting Geoff Neal, that Geoff Neal will attack the legs because we've seen that happen with Neil Magny. His legs, unfortunately, he has Bambi-itis. He's got the Bambi legs, and Santiago Ponzinibbio really kind of, I wouldn't say it was him who laid down the blueprint. It was Lorenzo Larkin who just wrecked his legs, and he just couldn't continue because that movement that Neil Magny really possesses, he needs his legs for that, And if you kick the legs out, he's kind of a sitting duck because you can't really use your reach if you're not backing away or moving side to side. So Geoff Neal should attack those legs and really, really hurt Neil Magny with those. I can even see him winning via TKO leg kicks, but like Geoff Neal's a smart guy. He should attack the legs and then go high with the head kick. Man, I think Neil Magny, if this was a guy, say Geoff Neal is the same fighter, just without that power, without the ability to hurt you, I think he beats the crap out of Geoff Neal. I think he easily beats him. But Neil Magny, although he has that overwhelming volume, if he gets hurt and he can't move well, man, he's back to kind of like a fighter waiting to get knocked out, like Santiago Ponzinibbio did. And yeah, he's gotten better. He was on a 3-fight win streak. He beat a lot of good guys, but some of these guys, you can beat them pretty easily. Li Jing Liang, he got demolished. He wasn't on those Chinese vitamins. Anthony Rocco Martin, he didn't pull the trigger hard enough. He was attacking the legs, but he just didn't really pop off. And Robbie Lawler, unfortunately, God rest his soul, he's not the same fighter anymore. And then we saw what Michael Chiesa did. He never got hurt by Chiesa. Yeah, I got Geoff Neal to win this one. I'm going to say second round TKO. He's going to attack the legs early and then just finish him off on the ground. So Geoff Neal, second round knockout.
Yeah, I think you said it just right. Neil Magny, he's a guy who swarm. He's I don't know how else to put it, but he swarms guys, and suffocates them with his constant grappling and holding guys against the cage. And well, it's not the most exciting. I do, I'm still, I want to say, a fan of Neil Magny. Going back to um, his streak several years ago, specifically going back to when he was beating Eric Silva, Kelvin Gastelum, and Hector Lombard. Unfortunately, his streak ended with Lorenz Larkin and Rafael dos Anjos, but this guy's, I can't really, I don't know. I'm just a fan of Neil Magny. I was going to say Geoff Neal. Geoff Neal's okay as well, but Neil Magny, he's just that underdog that I'm always just rooting for, man. Unfortunately, here he's running into just that, Geoff Neal and his hands of steel. Uh, you know, if Neil Magny had run into what is it, 2015 Robbie Lawler, he would have gotten destroyed. But unfortunately, he was running into Robbie Lawler, version. I don't know what version. It's
2020 Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, 20 whatever. Yeah, it's Robbie's decline. He ran to Robbie at the not the peak, but the valley of his decline. Geoff Neal, on the other hand, this guy's a contender for sure. I think with a win here over Neil Magny, he's going to get back into the top 10. And yeah, unfortunately for Neil Magny, I think, he's tough. I don't know if he's going to get knocked out, but it's a possibility, because Neil Magny's going to come in. The way he's going to win this fight is by, doing what he normally does and smothering Geoff Neal. But Geoff's hands, man, if he doesn't take his hands into account, for sure, I think he's going to get knocked out. But I think probably going to be a second round TKO for Geoff Neal. If not, if Geoff can't, stave off the, Neil Magny smothering him. If I just say Neil, I'm going to get confused as to who the hell I'm talking about. If Geoff Neal cannot, get separation and just implement his striking game against Neil Magny, he's going to get smothered, and he's going to get decisioned, and he's going to be like, "What the hell did I just do?" So it's real. So I see this as Geoff Neal's fight to lose. Yeah, if he doesn't get that, first or second round TKO, Neil Magny is going to smother him. So I'll go with the TKO, but it's kind of this is a coin flip fight for me, at least at first glance. I want to say, I want to go with my gut and say, yeah, Geoff's going to knock him out for sure. But Neil's a very durable guy. That's the only reason I'm not saying that's a kind of a sure thing. And he's been able to take punches from several power punchers, including Hector Lombard, back when Hector was somewhat of a feared striker, I want to say. But he hasn't gotten knocked out too much. So yeah, he's a pretty durable guy. But then again, a lot of these guys aren't Geoff Neal. So man, it's this is probably one of the only times where you're going to be rooting for a Neal, but yeah, it's tough.
This is the only time where you're rooting for Neal, but Neal beats Neal. It's like,
yeah,
oh
exactly.
No.
Where you're not wrong when you say that Neal's going to win. Yeah, so I'll go with Geoff Neal by TKO, but yeah, this is not a fight I would bet on. It's it's way too close, I think, in my opinion. But I mean, if you want to live on the edge, and have that Hail Mary parlay, then yeah, definitely include this one in there. But as far as betting, your what is it? Your rent, not your rent, but your phone bill or whatever on this one, I would not do it.
Well, the next fight you should definitely put all your money into. We've got a fight between Amanda Ribas and Angela Hill at 115. Very, 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 I don't know, meh type of fight. I don't know what to think about this one because Amanda Ribas was queen of the jungle a few months ago. She was like that's the girl. She was everywhere on Instagram. Everyone loved her. Then she gets her ass knocked out by Marina Rodriguez. And to be 100% honest with you, I love Amanda Ribas. I absolutely adore her. She's fucking dork, right? I think she's cute. She deserved to get knocked out in that fight. Like absolutely deserved it. Like me losing money on Amanda Ribas that night, I didn't feel bad because she got what she deserved. You get what you fucking deserve. Yeah, she did not fight very smart. I don't know. Just I felt so disappointed in Amanda in that fight because like she knew the path to victory and she tried to play that game like I'm gonna strike with her. I'm like, no, idiot. And then she got what she had coming. She got knocked out twice, I think. Yeah, twice. She got TKO'd twice, and it was just bad. For Angela Hill, she got back on track beating the crap out of Ashley Yoder. She's been progressively getting better. The only problem is that she's 36 years old, and it might not be the best time for her to actually start showing off her new skill set. She had some of those close split decision wins slash losses in her opinion that she technically quote unquote won. Michelle Waterson, she got beat. She was winning most of the fight, but then her efficiency came back up, which would be the ground game. Claudia Gadelia, she got split decision by her. Frankly, you can make the argument for Angela Hill that might have been a robbery, but it is what it is. It's how you really react to it, and I don't think she ever reacted to those losses very well. She kept complaining. She's a nice girl, right? I like Angela Hill. I think she's funny. She's kind of an internet troll. I like her walkout music. She's a nice chick, but that mentality sometimes, like I won that fight. I'm like, just shut the fuck up and keep fighting to just get better. And it's a toss up. It's a really tough toss up between these two girls. I can't remember if I even brought up the odds. I'll bring them up again. Angela Hill plus 145, Amanda Ribas minus 165. I don't know. I have no real read on this one because Amanda Ribas is by far the better fighter between these two girls. Her striking, I think, is a little bit more, I guess, less fundamental. I can't explain it. I think Angela Hill striking is just like very basic. Amanda Ribas is a little bit more creative with her striking. I guess she implements more takedowns, kind of gives her more of a free range to kind of do weirder things. And like Angela Hill is just pretty meat and potatoes. It should be, frankly, like cover up that last loss from Amanda Ribas, the Marina Rodriguez, and clearly, like, yeah, Amanda Ribas is going to win, but we've seen that chin get cracked before. So it could be one of those things like Angela Hill might get her first actual knockout. Now she's gotten TKOs before, but her actual knockout because she has good striking, she has some good power, she's a strong girl, but her takedown defense is always going to be that deficiency. She has really learned to stuff takedowns and even go for her own. It's just that when she's going up against a grappler the level of Amanda Ribas, it concerns you absolutely. It's a coin flip fight. I'll go with Ribas to get back on track because she is a younger girl. She does have the longer reach. I think she's going to learn from those mistakes, really protect her chin because, man, this is the second time she's gotten knocked out. Both of her losses are to vicious knockouts, right? And oh, man, I just can't bet Angela Hill. Like, there's a part of me that, like, yeah, Angela should win this one. Maybe we'll see a tentative Amanda Ribas, which is a possibility. Maybe wait till weigh-ins if you really want to take a shot, if you really want to torture yourself, if you really like the movie Hellraiser and you love torture, then yeah, bet on Amanda Ribas. But I'm staying away. But I'll go Ribas to win this one by third round submission.
I'll keep this one short. There's really not much more to add. I'm going with P-Boss with a decision. Just because, I mean, as much as I like Angela Hill, I think she's over the hill at this point. Her win to Ashley Yoder wasn't all that impressive. Um, I think her last two losses, she should have, to Gadelia and Waterson. People say that she got robbed. She didn't get robbed. She should have won those. She should have um, clearly won those fights, but she didn't. And so I don't think, uh, I don't know. And well, I should say I don't believe Hebus has cleaned up her act. I think she's still got the same skill set as a lot of these fighters tend to do. They don't really change anything up or correct, what they need to. But that being said, I don't think Angela Hill has that knockout power to um, put Ribas's lights out. And so I'll take Ribas. I'll say by decision. I think Angie's going to have um, enough defense to not let herself get submitted or TKO'd.
Our next matchup at heavyweight, we've got Big Ben Rothwell versus Monstro Felipe Lins. I find it ironic that his nickname is Monstro, which is a monster, and he's looked nothing like a monster in the UFC. In PFL, man, he was going off on dudes, and then he gets to the UFC, and you think they're giving him a softball, like here's Andrei Arlovski, go knock him out, get him out of the UFC. We don't want to pay him that much money anymore, and he gets decision by him, and they're like, hey, here's Tanner Bozer, the Canadian hillbilly, go knock him out and make his mullet go flying in the air. And then he gets knocked out. I'm like, what the fuck? Felipe Lins, what happened? And, if you look at pictures of him back in the day, like he looked like he had at least a six pack. And now it's like he let himself go. And that $1 million win from PFL kind of left him. It's kind of like the Connor effect, except with less money. It's like Connor made a shit ton of money. He's like, yeah, whatever, it's fine if I don't ever fight again. But Felipe Lins is like, oh, I got enough money to like buy a house and then like maintain it for a couple of years. And it's like, okay, I'm good. I'm set for the rest of my life. It's like, I don't know. I'll be quick with this one. Ben Rothwell, bigger guy, tougher guy, really hard to knock out. He should win this one pretty easily. He's going to just bully around Felipe Lins. Hopefully, we get that Ben Rothwell that can do that herky jerky dance like he did with Brandon Vera, although he was on the stuff back then, but I'm not going to tell if you don't tell. I'll go with Ben Rothwell. I know I got not much to say. Like Ben Rothwell, I think they're a pick 'em right now, plus 110, plus 110. I think it should be a pretty clear cut win for Ben Rothwell. I think Ben is more willing to take risks. His big coconut head will really serve him well. He took an ass whooping from Overeem and then caught him just clean, and he styled on him with that herky jerky dance at the end. I can't see Felipe Lins really connecting on Ben Rothwell to knock him out. It's very possible. I've been known to say like, oh, it's not going to happen. He's not going to knock him out, and then he knocks out Ben Rothwell. Kind of like I said, Ben Rothwell's not going to submit Josh Barnett. You're an idiot. Then I lose all my money when he submits Josh Barnett. I'm like, God damn it. 10-finger go choke. But yeah, Ben Rothwell, I wouldn't say he's the better fighter. I think he's just, I don't know how to explain it. He's just more of a fighter. He's got more fight in him than Felipe Lins. I think Felipe Lins is more skilled, but he doesn't have that like toughness, that willingness to be like, it's the third round, I'm going to go after you. So Ben Rothwell to win this one. I'm going to say decision. I wouldn't be surprised if he knocks out Felipe Lins with something crazy.
Yeah, I think I don't have too much to add to this one as well. Uh, you know, I think these guys are both on the decline. Uh, More so Rothwell, but I think Rothwell has more than enough to take out Lins. That's funny. You put it you put it as this guy's the poor man's Conor McGregor, I guess to a certain extent. I guess $1 million for him might as well be $1 billion. So he's laying, in pretty well. I think Ben Rothwell is going to be definitely the bigger guy, both bigger, in the waist as well as just overall bigger. I think he's going to tower over Lins, and he's just going to have the volume.
You want to hear
Yeah, I'll go with
something
him.
funny, dude, from
Oh,
a couple weeks ago? Just like I just remembered. during the embedded for Ngannou versus Stipe, or Stipe versus Ngannou. Stipe was champion still. There was a scene in the embedded where Ben Rothwell and Stipe are in the same flight, and I think they're across the aisle from each other, and they're like, "Oh, hey Ben, how you been? Like, what are you up to?" Like, "Oh, I'm fighting soon." I'm like, "Ooh, who are you fighting?" And then Ben's like, "Felipe Lins." Like he's like, "Who?" It's like, who the fuck is Felipe Lins? They don't respect this guy whatsoever, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, it's this guy isn't Felipe, some other Felipe. This is Felipe Lins. There's another guy, Felipe something or other, who beat, who was, I guess, who beat some beat dudes that he wasn't supposed to. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is not going to be I don't think this is going to be a highlight fight. This is going to be one of those fights where you're like, Jesus, these guys need to get on the treadmill. And so, yeah, I'll go with Rothwell in this one. I would say he's more consistent than Lins at this point. You can't really hop on a train that is, that got derailed before it even got started. So I'm gonna go with Rothwell to add a W to his. He's gonna be 39-13. Wow, he's got almost 40 wins. That's crazy.
Our next matchup and our main event of the night, we've got late notice main event, 5 rounds now. Marina Rodriguez versus Michelle Waterson. And I really would have preferred this one to be 3 rounds. 5 rounds just kind of throws a wrench in the train tracks, because you kind of have an idea of how this might go if it was 3 rounds, but with 5 rounds, it's like, Jesus Christ. Currently the odds are, let me look them up. I lost them here. There's no odds out. What the hell? It's freaky. Very, very interesting. Okay. Well,
Weird.
after doing some research, I guess there's no odds out for this main event. That's strange. Maybe because they changed it from 3 to 5 rounds. It's a I don't want to say it's a fascinating matchup, but it's a really strange matchup to bet, especially for the main event of a fight. I know it was going to be Dillashaw versus Sandhagen, which was like, oh my God, like it's like mouth watering, right? You want it bad, but now we got Michelle Waterson versus Marina Rodriguez. So it's kind of like, what's the best way to put it? It's like you get, it's a blue balls main event. So you got Marina Rodriguez, who, as we mentioned earlier, knocked out Amanda Hibas in the first round, knocked her out twice. And then she suffered her first official loss to Carla Esparza the fight before that. And that was a fight where I was like, I needed her to win for that parlay. I tend to place a lot of really stupid 10 leg or 8 leg parlays with like a small amount that I bet like $5, $10. But they often have really good odds. And then I just needed Marina Rodriguez to win to go cash out. And man, she just did not do what she needed to do to win that fight. Like Carla Esparza got her ass beat from the bottom, and then she would make slight mistakes. Like she would beat up Carla Esparza, and then she would get on top, and then she would make a mistake, and then she'd get taken down. Which, for the judges, I personally would give that round to Marina because she did more damage, but she lost the control top position. And with Michelle Watterson, it's concerning because she was losing the majority of the fight with Angela Hill, which is like, what the hell? Saying that out loud, like she's losing to Angela Hill. And then she went for the takedowns and then she won. So that's like, what's going to happen here? Is Marina Rodriguez going to beat the crap out of Michelle Watterson? And then Michelle's going to take her down, because Marina Rodriguez cannot stuff takedowns. Like even in that fight with Amanda Hibas, she got taken down. She did get back up and then got the knockout, but am I going to trust her to do that again with Michelle Watterson? Again, it's 5 rounds. Michelle has been proven to go 5 rounds, and what her last fight was 5 rounds, and she won that decision. She can adjust, and it's just like it's a tough one for me to really make a decision on. If this was 3 rounds, I'd pick Michelle Watterson. Michelle Watterson can hold her down and just out grapple Marina for at least like two to 2.5 rounds of that fight. when it comes to this matchup, let's just say Michelle Waterson takes down Marina Rodriguez in the first round controls or second round controls, or they're gonna have to restart these in the feet, and then Marina could get a feel for what type of takedown Michelle Waterson feels more comfortable with, like that head and arm toss. Marina does have some decent takedown defense against the cage because she's a long, lanky legged lady. She has the reach advantage at 3 inches in reach, and then she's got the height advantage again, 3 inches in reach. She's the younger fighter. It's like I don't know what to pick this one. I think Marina has more chances to win because they have to restart the fight each round on the feet. And I think she has a chance. She has at least 5 chances minimum to knock out or hurt Michelle Waterson. Michelle's been finished multiple times. And I think if anything is, if this fight will get finished, it will be because Marina Rodriguez lands something. But man, Michelle Waterson, she at least, we know she has the gas tank to go 5 rounds. I don't know if Marina has that ability, especially on short notice. So there's a lot of possibilities on this one. Again, the odds aren't out yet, so I have no real tell. Just I don't know. I've got no official read on this one. I'll go with Rodriguez by knockout. I think if the fight's going to end, it's going to end by the hands of Rodriguez, and I want to see a finish. I like Michelle Waterson. I mean, I think she's still hot as hell, man. I've been a fan of hers, but she's been finished by better fighters before. And Marina, I think she is a better fighter, but that one deficiency, that Carlos Condit takedown defense. And I love Carlos Condit, but damn, that's like the biggest flaw in these longer strikers. And we'll have to see. But I'm staying the hell away from this fight. But I've got Marina to win just because I kind of think she might finish it. And if it does get finished, it'll be because of her. I want to finish. I want to be entertained by this matchup. But if it goes the way that back of my brain is saying it's going to be a really boring fight because Michelle Waterson's going to make it that way, Michelle wins. But I'm praying to the MMA gods out there. Marina Rodriguez, finish this fight, put us out of our misery early, at least in 3 rounds. So I'll go with Marina Rodriguez by second round knockout.
I'm also going with Marina in this one. Don't have too much to add. I can't really hide my disappointment at the fact that they changed the main event on this one. I think I like Marina just fine. I think she's okay, and Michelle, she puts on okay fights. But I think this is Marina's fight to lose. I don't think Michelle has some takedown. I think she has more judo flips and judo takedowns rather than she's not going to be a cookie monster taking her down and stealing the decision that way. So I think Marina's just gonna just outwork her on the feet and get that decision. It's not gonna be the most exciting main event we've seen, but for sure it's not gonna be Rose versus Wei Li or even Valentina versus that little dude. What's his name? Andrade.
Man. Now you bring up Andrade. I have to bring it up. When you sent me a picture of Andrade during weigh-ins, and then she had very pronounced nipples. I was like, oh wow, look at those little guys.
That was pretty freaky. It was, my brain didn't know what to think. So that was
like boner question mark? No boner? What?
Yeah, it's like man, should I feel awkward about this? So yeah, I'll go with Rodriguez. I think when she's just got more volume and she's the type of fighter who will push the pace, whereas Michelle will kind of fall back if, she feels that the fight is getting a little bit too rough for her. So I'll go with Marina. I think Marina, she's probably looking for that rematch with the Cookie Monster. Hopefully she's working on her takedown defense as of now, not just for that fight.
Well, those have been our picks for UFC on ESPN 24, UFC Fight Night, Rodriguez versus Waterson. Make sure you please leave a like, share, subscribe. We're almost at 100. That's going to be a great night for us once we hit 100. Leave a like again, comment, let us know what you guys think. Let us know if we suck. Again, Johnny Jose, Tiger Bomb MMA, and we'll catch you at the next fight.